Stranger Things Season 5 is over, and what's there to say about it? Well, it was not the strongest send-off to say the least. It was bloated, slow, and, well, it was a little self-indulgent. Just a little bit. Enough has already been said about the Will coming out scene to the point where the once fertile soil of that moment now looks like a scorched nuclear landscape. Season 5 started off 18 months after the events of Season 4, which gave the Duffers a wealth of good faith from the community. And how did they honor this? Well, by starting slow and mundane. That's not to say you can't do a little subversion of expectations, but the Duffers said in an interview that Season 5 would be nonstop because we can't go slow. I'm paraphrasing here, but clearly that was a lie. Whether it was a budget or a Netflix overlord thing, something changed that mindset. Instead, we got slow scenes of people talking and having heart-to-hearts, which is fine, except most people don't really care about half of these characters. Season 4 proved that the Duffers have no balls when it came to not killing Max, a point that would have shown true stakes for the core group and probably given Lucas something to do. You know, maybe feel like he's got more skin in the game because his girlfriend's dead. Dustin at least had Eddie's death driving him. Poor Eddie, one of the many characters introduced only to die in that season. So who's our sacrifice this season? Well, it's a legacy character. Remember her? Yeah, we remember her. And it's also a little convenient that the plot thread that she was involved in was just kind of buttoned up off screen. Maybe the season could have started by showing those other children with powers being captured by Linda Hamilton. Introduce her as a ruthless leader and give us an idea of what the military is really aiming to do via the Upside Down and this whole program. I still wouldn't have cared with Eleven's sister dying because, well, she just wasn't important. It felt like the show was being nostalgic about itself. But what about the final episode? Was it the climactic battle that we all were looking for? I mean, kinda, yeah. We find out the Mind Flayer is really truly a thing, and Vecna/Henry is working with it to collapse its world into ours. And the Upside Down is just like a gooey little tunnel between our worlds. The Mind Flayer adds a kaiju element to the show, which I have to appreciate out of bias towards giant monsters. Visually, the design of the creature was really, really cool, and the Mind Flayer just kinda looked muddy and gross because the world was muddy and gross and saturated with like a sepia tone. I don't know, it gave me Zack Snyder like CG vibes from, Superman and Dawn of Justice and whatnot. As far as character designs go, the Mind Flayer was really cool. I do personally like how it looked at the end of season 2 when we saw it as more of like a smoky creature. Seeing it fleshed out as this weird fleshy spider thing actually kind of works. The Mind Flayer is killed easily by 11, and Will impales Vecna on a toothy appendage. While the fight was okay, it didn't really feel like there were stakes. Then we get all the epilogue in the world, which is whatever. Nothing was special about it. It left the characters in a predictable and safe space where we don't need to know what happens to them beyond this. So that's season 5. But what about the show as a whole? Did it live up to the hype? I can't say no, but I can say it's a little complicated. Season 1 was a really solid self-contained story that felt complete and unique, while season 2 felt like a strong continuation and successfully explored the characters further while introducing a bigger threat in the Mind Flayer. Season 3, on the other hand, dropped the ball. It was painfully and obnoxiously pulling on those nostalgia heartstrings while not really providing anything of substance. Season 4 came out and it had something to prove, and it did not disappoint. It successfully introduced the true antagonist and set up the show for a photo finish. Sadly, season 5 wasted that potential, but it was still delivering something that I don't really regret watching. Yes, it was slow, and at times it was cringe-inducing, but overall, I'm happy I saw it through. It was a cultural phenomenon whether you like it or not, and it's always interesting to have been part of something like that in some capacity. Will we ever see a Netflix show that has the same success as Stranger Things in the future? Probably not. If they succeed at purchasing Warner Brothers, will they even need to, or will that back catalog keep them afloat for decades? Time will tell, my friends. Time will tell.